House continues to complain about the so-called unfair process of the impeachment investigation. They feel that they've been left out of the hearings, that they haven't been given the proper opportunity to defend themselves. However, in yet another opportunity to defend themselves, the Trump administration has said that they will not participate in the House Judiciary Committee's hearing on the impeachment this week. Now, it would be very helpful for Trump to participate in this, or at least have his lawyers participate, but he explains why he refuses to do so in this next clip. Take a look.
Why don't you send one of your lawyers to represent your point of view before the House impeachment inquiry?
Because the whole thing is a hoax. Everybody knows it. All you have to do is look at the words of the Ukrainian president that he just issued, and you know it's a hoax. It's an absolute disgrace what they're doing to our country.
So he claims it's a hoax. His counsel, Pat Cipollone, also claims that this is all a hoax. Of course, we've all now heard from numerous Trump administration officials who have said that he did withhold that military funding to Ukraine in order to pressure the Ukrainian government to dig up dirt on his political rival, Joe Biden. I mean, these are not progressives, these are not lefties, these are people in some cases who donated a lot of money to Donald Trump and then later in this impeachment investigation testified against him because the truth is the truth and it's gonna come out sooner or later. So Gordon Sondland was the one who turned on Trump eventually. So Cenk, jump in.
Yeah, so first of all, of course the Ukrainian president didn't say that. He had an interview with a number of European outlets where he said, look, of course it wasn't a quid pro quo because I wouldn't do that, and I wouldn't want to beg on behalf of Ukraine. He said, on the other hand, it is not good to hold up our aid and to go around calling us corrupt because that reduces investment in our country, and we needed that aid to protect ourselves from Russia. In other words, he's saying, look, I'm telling you right now, I desperately need America. So I can't tell you right now while Trump is in office that it was a quid pro quo. But I need that aid. I needed it before, I need it for the next time around. So I'm being as clear as I could possibly be that it was not a good thing to hold up our aid. So Trump's characterization of what Zelensky said, of course, totally and utterly wrong as usual. And look, I'm now exhausted at this point dealing with Republican lies. And normally I have fun with it. And we spike them on a daily basis. This is stupid, this is not true, etc. But this impeachment is both Trump and the entire Republican Party wall-to-wall lie. Take everything you see and turn it upside down. So him saying like, oh, they're not giving me a fair shot. You can go, you right there, you're the president. You say they're not being fair to you. You can go testify. Now you say, hey, look, I don't want to testify because I'm a pathological liar and they'll get me on 1,000 things I say wrong. Our point is exactly. Secondly, your lawyers can go. You've got all of the Republican congressmen that are in the hearings, plus your lawyers, plus you if you want. He says, no, I'm not gonna go, and I'm not gonna send my lawyers either. Well, then you're gonna have to drink a tall glass of shut up juice, because this is over the top fair to you. But nonetheless, what do they come out with? Their talking point is, oh, it's so unfair to us. It's so unfair to us, it's a hoax.
I know, but look, the frustrating part of this story is not that Republicans are lying in an effort to cover up for Trump or make excuses for Trump or defend Trump. The frustrating part is no one ever goes back to the heart of the story, which is Republican lawmakers who went directly to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and said, we don't know what to do. We can't defend Donald Trump on the substance, so how do we defend him? And Mitch McConnell said, focus on the process. Okay, and that's what they've done, and they're gonna keep doing it. They're gonna keep pretending as if this is some sort of unfair process, even though there's absolutely no indication that it's unfair. And the Trump administration has been asked to participate in this over and over again. So there was a 5-page letter sent to Adam Schiff by Pat Cipollone, that's the White House counsel, and he wrote the following: we cannot fairly be expected to participate in a hearing while the witnesses are yet to be named and while it remains unclear whether the Judiciary Committee will afford the president a fair process through additional hearings.
Okay, let me break that down, guys. So they do have a fair process through these hearings. He's like, but if there are going to be additional hearings that no one knows about, we don't know if what process you're gonna apply to unknown hearings. well, I guess you could use that excuse to get out of any hearing ever, because there might later be other hearings and you don't know the process to hearings that have not been named. What a terrible, terrible excuse. And all the witnesses have been named. That's not how hearings work. So sometimes witnesses are called and some of them are named, and then later other witnesses are called, and sometimes based on the testimony given. So you couldn't possibly name every single witness. By the way, the Republicans might be able to call some witnesses, and they're gonna have to see which witnesses are allowed and not allowed. So by definition, you can't have all the witnesses right now. He knows that, but the point isn't to be legally correct. The point is just to have a fig leaf for Trump supporters to go, oh yeah, that's right, we're the victims. It's been totally unfair.
It's beyond frustrating. But one other thing is, look, this House Judiciary Committee hearing is incredibly important, right? So if Trump had any interest in really defending himself, he would want to be part of it. He would want at least his lawyers to be there, because the whole purpose of it is to look at the evidence at hand and determine whether or not there is enough evidence to draft the articles of impeachment. Yeah. And so you would want to have a voice in that process. If you're truly innocent and you truly want to defend yourself, that's what this hearing is all about. And he's refusing to participate because he knows he's guilty. And then he pretends as though he cares about the NATO summit that's happening this week. Remember, Trump notoriously despises NATO, thinks it's nonsense, and goes after our NATO allies all the time. But here he is claiming that the NATO summit this week is incredibly important. He can't be distracted by the impeachment investigation.
The Democrats, the radical left Democrats, the do-nothing Democrats, decided when I'm going to NATO, this was set up a year ago, that when I'm going to NATO, that was the exact time. This is one of the most important journeys that we make as president. And for them to be doing this and saying this and putting an impeachment on the table, which is a hoax to start off with.
So there you go. He's pretending like, it's you don't have to be there. White House counsel can be there. White House counsel can defend you. I mean, that's usually what would happen anyway, but he just doesn't want to take part in this. They want to pretend as though this is a illegitimate process.
So in the Judiciary Committee, they're trying to determine, as Anna was alluding to, what are the different articles of impeachment? Do we have enough evidence for showing that not only that things happen, but that they were a high crime or misdemeanor, or perhaps another violation of the Constitution? So there is no earthly reason why you wouldn't send your lawyer there. If I was charged with things I didn't do, and we're going to determine what the charges are, would I send my lawyer? Of course, everybody would send their lawyer, unless they know they have no legal grounds to stand on and they have no factual grounds to stand on. So the only thing they're gonna hang their hat on is not fair, which is what Donald Trump probably cried to his daddy 1,000 times as his daddy spanked him after giving him another bailout after another bankruptcy, right? So, and Trump's back to that. Like Anna pointed out, yeah, you're really worried about NATO. You've been trying to basically dismember NATO from the day that you got in, thanks to your orders from your boss, Vladimir Putin. So normally when you go to Europe, those are really important, because usually those are meetings that are not just NATO, but are a larger group that include Putin, and that's where you get your orders, and that's where you rip up the transcripts of your dialogue with Putin, or don't allow American translators. That is the most important thing you do, whether it's you get your orders from your boss normally when you go over to Europe. But in this case, this is just NATO, the people you don't like, i.e. our allies. So this whole thing of like, oh my God, I'm busy working. Oh, please. You know what he did over the weekend? This is one of my favorite things. So somebody, a reporter predicted that he'd spent all Thanksgiving tweeting. Now, as it turned out, he went to go see the troops in Afghanistan. Great, I'm glad he did that. That's a good move politically, but it's a good thing to do overall, okay? So then Don Trump Jr. tweets out, see, Dad didn't tweet on Thanksgiving, you were so wrong, fake news. And before Thanksgiving's up, Donnie, because he's just too stupid and can't stand it, tweeted about, I didn't tweet.
Oh God.
Oh God. There's no end to his stupidity. That's the president, right? So you're too busy. Please, nobody believes that. Not a single person in America or the world believes that. Well, you're gonna go to NATO, and what are you gonna do? You're gonna tweet over there about some hoax, witch hunt, blah. So guilty, 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 guilty. It's beyond any reasonable doubt. And so the fact that they're not even showing up shows you they know they have absolutely no case.
Exactly. And it is funny because just today, House Republicans released a report, a 123-page report defending Donald Trump, claiming that the Democrats have absolutely no evidence indicating that Donald Trump is guilty of high crimes or misdemeanors, including bribery and extortion. Even though there are text message exchanges, even though there are members of Trump's own administration testifying against him, you have members of the intelligence community, you have various ambassadors chiming in on this and sharing their perspective and their evidence on it. There is an abundance of evidence against Donald Trump. He is unable to defend himself. Republicans are really unable to defend him when it comes to the substance. They just focus on how unfair the process supposedly is, and that's it. That's all it is.
One last thing. Fox and Friends this morning is back to, well, if you thought the last set of hearings were boring, these are gonna be even more boring. It's lawyers talking about what's legal and not legal. Snooze fest. What do you do with guys like this? So if your best argument is you might be right and the president we support is a criminal, on the other hand, the way you're presenting evidence against him is boring. Is that an on the other hand? So I feel like every day we come on the show, we have a debate with people who keep telling us that the grass is not green, it's purple. And we have to just like genuinely go, okay, here's the science behind why grass is green and not purple. And every day they come out and they're like, no, the grass is being so unfair to us. And you're being unfair by pointing out science. So we will not send our own scientists, but we demand that you call it purple, or at least even. So that's just not how it works. He's wrong in every way, shape, and form. Look, on the one hand, I want him to go into more charges against him, obstruction of justice on the Russia case, the campaign finance violations on the hush money. On the other hand, I just want to wrap it up because I'm so sick of the Republican lies that we have to knock down every single day that have 0% merit. This is not a conversation between rational actors anymore. They are illegitimate and purposely lying actors, and it's not just Trump. It is now the entire Republican Party.
I mean,
they own it.
They enable criminality. That's what they do.
Yeah, it's a criminal supporting enterprise, the National Republican Party. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.